All right, welcome in. Hail to the podcast brought to you by Maize Blue Review. We're here to talk Michigan football, getting back on track, if you will. Big time win over Central Michigan this Saturday. Sets the table for a huge matchup against Nebraska and then the bye week. So we're kind of going to talk, obviously, what happened with that game, reset expectations, a lot of big storylines coming out of this one with Bryce Underwood and Sharon Moore's impact, even though he wasn't there Saturday. And again, what we expect moving forward. So let's get right into it. But first, to introduce you to the boys, I'm Trevor McCue, joined as always, Mr. Maize Blue Review himself, Mr. Josh Henschke, and our guy in the sky, who of course was at the game, Brock Heilig, who had incredible service when he first started. Now I feel like you're like, there goes maybe a little bit better. Brock Skywalker, you do kind of look like prequel level Anakin.
Hey, I missed the days when I had my man bun and the people in the comments were making fun of me. What were they calling me? I can't remember what they were calling me when I had my hair put up.
I am pro man bun. I have a man bun a lot of the time. So.
They call Brock a lot of things.
Yeah, Brock gets a lot of harsh.
Yeah, unnecessary. He gets some unnecessary shots fired.
Yeah, your hair grows so freaking fast, though. Like I say that I have crazy long hair right now, but this is like 2 years. He could cut it and look like that again in a month.
That's still pretty good. I'm going on almost a year now without having it cut. So
yeah,
it is growing fast, but I don't know if I'd reach your level in 2 years.
I'll keep it going. Let's see what happens. All right, let's get into football. Like I said, big time victory for Michigan. I'm on the wrong screen here. My bad. Over Central Michigan Saturday. I think the storyline, much like Oklahoma, wasn't necessarily the fact they lost, but how they lost. Storyline in this one very much seems to be how they won, right? So a lot of narratives happening during the game, after the game. Brock, I want to start with you just because you were obviously at the press conference. Sharon Moore was obviously with the team this week. I wrote an article last week about I felt Sharon Moore was holding Bryce Underwood back, specifically his comments about not running him in direct conflict with comments he had just made about John Mateer and why his ability to run made it so hard for Michigan to beat him. And I thought that was such a bizarre juxtaposition. And it sounds like the team had a wake-up call, and we saw it Saturday, obviously. Bryce with, again, I apologize, I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I'll get it to a second, but he had, 114 rushing yards, I think it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And running the ball obviously opens up the pass, et cetera. All these things we all kind of knew. So what was just kind of the conversation from the team and the coaches and a very candid Biff Pokey after that football game?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I've been to quite a few post-game press conferences, and I think Saturdays would rank right up there with the top of them. I mean, Biff's a great interview, first of all. I mean, he just says exactly awesome. What he's thinking. He doesn't hold back. And, yeah, he gave us some really good stuff on Saturday after the game. But it was really interesting hearing him talk about what I thought was most interesting was the week leading up to the game. He actually came up to the press conference and said that despite winning 63-3, it was actually a heartbreaking day for him because he wasn't able to be there or Sharon Moore wasn't able to be there, right? And the guys had to play without Sharon Moore. And he talked about this emotional week leading up to the game where Sharon Moore was around the team, spending time with the offensive line, investing in the kids and in the players. And then he talks about this team dinner on Friday night, the night before the game, where he was getting emotional. I mean, he said it was a very emotional dinner on Friday night before the game, and that Sharon Moore was telling the guys to play for Michigan, play on the name of the back of your jersey, and the players are telling Sharon Moore, hey, we're going to play for you, coach, and he says, no, play for Michigan, play for the name on the back of your jersey, and I can only sit there and imagine and think about what that must have been like. And then he said Sharon Moore left the team and everyone was back. It's got to be tough. These are kids that Sharon Moore loves, and Biff Poggi certainly didn't hold back in letting that be known. And It's not just Sharon Moore having to be away from the team, which has got to be hard enough in and of itself. It's the fact that the players too are without their head coach, and this is a guy that has recruited a lot of these players. Right? They committed to playing for his head coach. Now he will be there for a week plus, and I thought it was really interesting hearing Biff talk about that after the game. Of course, the game itself was fabulous for Michigan. They won by 60 points, and so there wasn't a whole lot to really dissect there. So I thought that was really cool of Biff to really take us behind the scenes into that team dinner and talk about how emotional that was for everyone.
Josh, I wondered if this would feel kind of like what happened with Harbaugh, where the team was pissed.
Yeah.
Right. And we heard some comments during the week too. I can't remember what was the exact quote about.
Oh, Zach Marshall's moderately pissed off.
Yeah. But like, I think it's worth remembering, we talked about the sign stealing and everything else at length for a very long time. And this cloud that's hung over the program, it really pisses these players off, man. Mm-hmm. Right. All the narratives and things that were said, and they're really pissed that their head coach was suspended. So game plan wise, I think there's a lot to break down, but, and I'm pushing back on this. I tend to be a pretty big Moore defender. And again, I'm the guy, raise the hand. I'm the one that put the article out calling him out. Okay. But he again tends to, even when it's his own mistake, be honest, own up to it, and fix it right away. And it looks like that's what's happened here. And it looks like this team's really rallied behind him with the suspension as well.
Yeah, we won't get a chance to really hear him talk on that until next week, next Monday. So yeah, we can speculate that, he saw his mistakes and corrected them and things like that, but we can't really hear from him directly until next week. So I don't think the stakes are as high as they were with, the Harbaugh suspension and stuff. Just from a narrative perspective alone, I mean, you're talking about a program who's currently under investigation, and I'm referring to the past, currently under investigation for, sign stealing and all this crap. They're trying to win out to prove that, hey, it wasn't this because we were stealing the signs, we were winning. And, you're talking about playing 2 top 10 teams and all that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong. I think the stakes are high now. I mean, if Michigan would have went out on Saturday and lay an egg, then yeah, I mean, this is some real issues. And, they've got one more chance to big road game. I don't think it's as big as some people are making it out to be, but that's just my opinion. First early gut feeling the start of the week. But they are similar in a way of players creating kind of a united front. I know Jordan Marshall mentioned there was a players only meeting after the Oklahoma game. And, that kind of, I guess, recentered them, their focus. So yeah, I mean, it's similar and not, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and compare the two just because of where things sit this year compared to where things sat in 2023. I think they're on 2 entirely different planes. But this is going to be a situation where it'll either galvanizing the program or not. I mean, you can go 1 for 1, I guess, and split the series and between Central and Nebraska and still be fine. But, I think Michigan really needs this win on Saturday, not just for the, win it for the old coach, hoorah type of thing, but, they need it for momentum and some real development. So,
yeah, 3-1 with the loss to Oklahoma is going into the bye is significantly different than 2-2.
Yeah.
I think when we did our season, prognostication and predictions and blah, blah, it was pretty common was like, look, 3-1, those first 4 games, Bryce gets settled, you go into that bye. And now we're talking about if you win at USC, like there's a realistic world where you're playing Ohio State at 10-1, right? If you're 2-2, your playoff dreams are now literally running the table.
Yep.
And is that something that feels plausible at 2-2, right? So that the narrative going into the Nebraska game is huge, I think. Let me get this right. Bryce Underwood, 9 carries for 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. One thing I want to note that's important too, there's been kind of a debate. Only 2 of those were designed runs. And it sounds like, according to Biff, both of those were designed by Sharon Moore.
Yep.
I don't care about the designed runs. For me, what needs to happen and what looked different, Brock should join us again, by the way, guys. He's just dealing with some technical stuff. What looked different to me is he was playing free. And what I mean by that is when Bryce is moving in the pocket, he's really good, right? But he's got to know if there's a chance to run that he can.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that giving Brock's cutting his hair.
Brock is cutting his hair.
That'd be hilarious.
He came back just completely bald.
Yeah. So no, for me, it's Bryce isn't the dual threat quarterback that you're running a ton of RPO and he's running 20 times a game. That's not who he is to me. But he's a guy that can get, I think it was 26 were off of design. So he got 90 yards off of extended plays.
Yeah.
6 of those 7 scrambles were first downs. Not letting him do that was absurd to me. That was the call out.
Right.
Him having, this. Yep. Thank you for saying what it took me 2 minutes.
Bryce, here's Bryce Underwood right here.
Yeah,
Bryce.
Difference was being Bryce chiming in.
Bryce is chiming in on his own play here.
Yeah. Difference was being given the green light to scramble when needed. It's that simple.
Yeah, you heard it from Bryce first.
And look, it's worth pointing out this is Central Michigan. It's not Oklahoma. Some of those pressures probably could have been sacks if it's Oklahoma pass rush. Is Samaj Morgan wide open for that touchdown against Oklahoma? Yeah. Right? There's things that worked in this game that wouldn't have. But from a mentality standpoint, I compared it to the Harbaugh suspension. Maybe the better comparison, this kind of popped in my head while you were talking, Josh, was the bye week before Northwestern last year, where it was the same thing. Yeah. They had a team meeting. The players came together and said, look, we got one more home game. We've got one more game against Ohio State. Like, we're not going out like this. Yeah. Sharon Moore decided he was done with the Kirk experiment largely and put a lot of more hands on the offense moving forward, right? So in a way, maybe it's closer to that where it's like, hey, let's just figure it out earlier in the year. This isn't us. This isn't what we wanted to be. Oklahoma has given us a great lesson and showed us something here. Mm-hmm. Right. And I don't know how they came to it. I don't know if it was Sharon's green light and he said, fine. I don't know if it was a collective decision. I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's why, and the people that want to look back on Oklahoma and Sharon did this, I don't care. There were 2 paths to go here. One was to keep running your head into a wall, insanity, doing the same thing. And the other was to make this change. And they made the change. So I'm happy. Of course, your point, Nebraska's coming up. Mm-hmm. If they revert back, then everything we're talking about doesn't matter. But to me, it was just so obvious, Bryce, what he was able to do, like I said, with his legs and the opportunities he created. It felt like the offensive line started to gel more as the game went on as well. And they started to play. I mean, they still had moments, right? This wasn't an elite performance by any means, but right. Marshall started to open up a little bit. Haynes had another great game. Both would have had even better games. They had a 75-yard TD for Haynes taken off the board and a 30-something yard TD for Marshall taken off the board. So I think it was obvious, right? So we know what's great in the Bryce situation. I think I just probably answered the question. Moving forward, the concerns that maybe still exist is at the offensive line. I know we're playing without 2 starters on Saturday, but assuming the good continues with Underwood's freedom, what else needs to continue to improve in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line play needs to improve. It's kind of a mixed bag in terms of what you got from post-game grades and all that stuff. Evan Link's grades were really bad, but I didn't see it. You can usually tell, during a game when you look at someone, you're like, oh God, he's going to have his grades are going to look really bad after this one. But really anyone on the offensive line, I wouldn't really see, like, maybe, Afobe had that really dumb hold that didn't necessarily bite them in the end, but there wasn't a guy I could point to on the offensive line, like, at least, and this is just, one watch through and eye test as the game went on. I couldn't point to someone and be like, yeah, he's having a really bad game. The group was moving the ball. A couple of penalties wiped out 2 big runs from Haynes and Marshall. So you could have been, a 400+ yard performance on the ground. I just think, that special teams needs to get better. Oh my goodness, are they not good right now?
Zavada's missing kicks. What the world?
I'm willing to give Zavada a pass because of there was no way Zavada can go butt backwards this year. I mean, from what he did last year, basically being almost perfect, you can't be better than perfect. You can follow it up with another perfect performance, but it's just not realistic. And the way that Zavada's kicking the ball, I think he's going to be okay in the long term. Because if I recall correctly, didn't Jake Moody one year have a really bad start to the year and he was missing some? It happens. Some accurate kickers just sometimes push it or whatever the case is. And so I'm not concerned about him, but back to the offense, I think, consistency with the receivers needs to be a little better. There's still some drops that you're like, man, you can't be having those. It's like, especially at this level, like the screenplay to Samaj where he just drops it and he had like yardage of acres of space to run through. It's just the little, it really, when they say it's the little things, it really is the little things. It's not like glaring problems. There's just, we don't really know what this team is, and what the loss to Oklahoma means yet. I mean, if Oklahoma runs the table or does very, very well, you can kind of look back and say, okay, well, that Oklahoma game sucked, but it was kind of a gut check moment that, hey, we've got some things that we need to fix and all that kind of stuff. So, there's no moral victories in football or any sport ever, but at some point, if Oklahoma's defense continues to look good, you kind of have to say like, man, Brent Venables kind of coached circles a little bit around Michigan's offensive staff. And he did anyway, he did anyway, like during in this one instance of the game, he did anyway. So I just need to see continual growth. I think it was good for Jordan Marshall to have the game he did. I think that's huge for his confidence. We saw a bunch of depth pieces that look like they could be something. I really liked how Kuzdal ran. I thought he runs really hard. Jasper Parker looks really good. I think he's going to be a stud in time. But I think I don't care who gave the green light. I don't care who game planned the offense. I don't care how much time Sharon spent with the offensive line last week, which sounds like he did more than usual. All I care about is the end result. And at least for 1 week, I have no complaints about the end result. I mean, you can't really complain after a 60 point win.
Yeah.
Underwood looked as advertised. He even said after the game that he was doing some self-reflection and kind of, looking at how much opportunities he left out there by not running. So, is it the coaches saying, hey, you cannot run? Is it, Underwood saying, oh yeah, maybe, maybe I didn't want to run here, or, I didn't see the play develop. It's probably somewhere in the middle. It's probably the coaches saying, don't run if you don't think you can get more than 5 yards or something like that. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the discussions, but I think, you can't sit there and have an athletic guy like that and say you cannot run at all. I highly, 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 highly doubt they told him you cannot run at all under any circumstance, because then you wouldn't see him scrambling out of the pocket trying to create plays. You just see him to take the sack and be done with it. So I just need to see this translate from 1 week to the next. I think,
Of course,
I don't think Nebraska is very, very good. I think they're a good team and they're going to be a challenge, especially in Lincoln. That's always a tough atmosphere. but this isn't a game where I feel like Michigan is outmanned or outnumbered. I think if Michigan can win in the trenches in this game, this is where Nebraska has done their best job this year, is in the trenches. So if you can shut that down, I think Michigan's chances of winning go up exponentially this weekend. And I think they'll do it. I mean, Michigan is the more talented program than Nebraska. It's just, it's close. It's getting close. Matt Rule's done a good job building it, but if Michigan wants to be considered among the conference's elite, you got to win these games too, and these games matter. And I just need to see that confidence and that forward progress go from a weak MAC team to a middle to middle-ish tier Big Ten team, and just keep that going, stacking them one after another. That's all I need to see.
I think another big piece of this game too, and again, in terms of the frustration fans have looking back to Oklahoma and balancing the central results, having both tight ends, Marlon Klein and Hogan Hansen, out there,
huge,
clearly played a huge factor. And without getting into X's and O's of it, I think those tight ends would have made a massive difference in terms of the scheme Oklahoma was running. But those guys, again, assuming they continue to stay healthy, are only going to get better as the season goes on. Hogan getting more football play, and you can just see how they're going to build into a really, really good tight end duo. As far as the offensive line, I've rewatched the game back once. I haven't gone through and chopped all my clips up for the stock report yet, so I'm not 100% where I feel I would be in terms of analysis. But the thing with Link continues to be, there's just this delay of anticipation on pass rush, and there's this lack of, and this is a consistent theme across a few guys, I'm going to call it meanness. There's a lack of meanness. There's a lack of violence. There's a lack of intensity. There's a lack of playing to the whistle. There's a lack of finding work. I always think of Toski when we say this phrase. I know it's not his. It's a very common teaching thing for offensive linemen. But I always think of it when we would watch our film, because in 23 or 22, talking about the positive things offensive linemen were doing, it was finding work, getting it. It might only take a chip on this guy and then getting to the next level and getting this guy. And where I think guys are doing a better job of getting to the next level, I saw a lot more of that in this tape.
Yeah.
There are still plays where Nathan Afobe whiffs on a block and then is literally looking at Jordan Marshall facing the wrong direction and just standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg Crippen at center is locked into a guy and still locked into the guy, and the running back has already made the move outside. You're done. Next one, go. You've completed the job with this guy, right? And I just, talking to some folks about, what do you think is different? It's that. It's that intimidating factor. It's that Hutt flips a switch and they're a maniac, and then the whistle goes and they stop. And I think about, Trevor Keegan and Zinter and these guys and the intimidation they had. Yes, there's a technical piece to it and what being good means looks like as an offensive lineman and understanding your assignments and things like that. But it's the Michigan's power run is so old school in its design, but it's really fun to watch the pulling guard come. And when it's working well, every piece looks so intentional. And a lot of these runs I watch, and these guys are just running all over the place. It looks chaotic. Like they don't know where the run play was supposed to go, or, that's the part that really frustrates me with the run game, is just that lack of rhythm, getting to the next level, finding work and intensity. And I'm getting to the point where I gave Oklahoma shit because they were starting 4 new offensive linemen against Michigan. 2 of them were freshmen. What a disaster. The guy that was at right guard was moving to left guard and blah, blah. And they came out and they played better than Michigan's defensive front.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care if you're a senior or a fifth-year guy. I don't even care if you're technically a little better. If Jake Garnera and Nathan Afobe are 60-40 or 55-45 or whatever it is, and Jake Garnera is out there finishing plays and playing with intensity, and he's the younger guy and he's probably the future anyway, play Jake Garnera. I don't, and if there's going to be learning curve bumps and whatever, fine. They're happening anyway. That lack of cohesion is happening anyway.
Yeah.
Blake Frazier. Dude, did Blake Frazier actually push for that left tackle job? Because if he did, put him at right guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm to that point. Ty Haywood. Again, he get on there late. Poor guy didn't even have his shoulder pad numbers. You know? But I'm not saying he's ready. I don't know if he is, but damn it, if it's close, let him out there, dude. Because something's got to change. You're accepting this every week. And we said at the beginning of the year, again, a credit to Sharon, bringing Castillo back, finding ways for him to spend more time with the O-line, which is where, like I said, I disagree a little bit. I do care that Sharon spent so much time with the offensive line last week. I think that means he recognizes something. It's just, it is the foundation of this team and success. You have said it needs to be, so don't accept anything less.
Mm-hmm.
They're not terrible.
No.
You know, they're not terrible. Okay. And they're getting better and they'll get better every week. That's fine. But man, there's just stuff where I'm like, I think your average fan said it, bro. What?
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah.
High school. What are you looking at? You know, it's that's the only thing that frustrates me. That's why I say, like, I'm a little hedged on, hey, it is Central, because I saw things that I'm like, man, they're not going to get away with this next week.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, oh, the offensive line's fixed, it's all good now. I don't think anyone's really going to say that. You know, I think you can say that there was tangible improvement from one week to the next, and stuff to work on, which at the end of the day is kind of the best case scenario for any position group in any game, and even in this kind of outcome. You know, if you played really well, but there's still things to work on, I think you're still out ahead. But yeah, I mean, in terms of opening up the offensive line competition or whatever, if Jake Garnera has not at least made people second guess about you know, where he factors in, you know, because we're talking about him in the year as kind of a backup center, but now, I mean, he looks like he's at least somewhat capable of playing guard. So you kind of don't know where his long-term projection is. He's probably going to be the next starting center after Crippen's gone, but is he good enough to play guard? And I think yesterday he looked like he can at least do the things that Afobe can. You know, I mean, I think, and if Brady Norton can literally come out of nowhere and not take the starting job, but whatever they want to do with that position once he comes back, I assume next week. Why can't a guy like Garnera come in and make things interesting? Why can't a guy like Blake Frazier come in and make things interesting? And I think this is where they miss a guy like Andrew Babalola the most as well, is that he, with that development and more playing time, would absolutely make things interesting there too. So that's why I get so like frustrated when I think about what Babalola could have been this year if not for that knee injury. So it's unfortunate, but you know, that's hindsight. But
yeah,
I mean, Garnera, I think I can't think of the grades off the top of my head right now, but I think Garnera was right there at the top as one of the best offensive linemen in the game. Mm-hmm. If not the top.
He was the highest graded run blocking offensive lineman against Central, and he's the second highest run blocking offensive lineman on the season, behind only Ahadi. Ahadi's their best offensive lineman to start the year.
Yep.
And that was a bummer to see him get hurt, obviously, especially at a position where you didn't even know what you were doing at the other guard spot yet. Right. But
so Garnera's
right there.
Yeah, what is Guarnera showing you that you can't feel like you can trust him with a full workload against a team like Nebraska? I don't know personally. It beats me. I'm not an offensive line guy. I'm not smart, so I can't make that decision. But with the eye test, I think if you've got an older guy making the same mistakes as a freshman, he's not a freshman, but if you got an older guy
freshman, yeah.
making the same mistakes as a young kid, almost freshly out of high school, why not go with the young kid? Because you can at least develop him more, because you're going to lose the older guy sooner. And if he's making the same mistakes and all things equal, go with the future. And I'm not trying to dog anyone or say anyone sucks or doesn't deserve to play or whatever. I'm just saying from a you don't have to lock in on 5 offensive linemen and be set with them for the rest of the way if you feel like there's a guy that could come in and make a difference. I understand the idea of having a unit gelling and playing together, to create that chemistry. I know that's important.
Yes.
But
if it's not there anyway, then what are you reserving?
Right. Winning is paramount, and putting the best 5 out there is paramount. I don't care about allegiances. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I care about putting the best 5 out there. And do I think Michigan has the best 5 offensive linemen out there right now? No, I don't, because I don't know what they're doing at guard between Norton and Inafobe. And granted, Norton didn't play on Saturday, so I'll give that a pass for this week. I just don't know what I don't know what the game plan is. I don't know what the path ahead is. And I hope Guarnera and Frazier can continue to push until they prove that they can't do it. And so far I don't think they have the best 5 out there right now. I mean, they've shown improvement from Oklahoma to Central, which is good, but at the same time, you need to adjust expectations for opponents, and then we don't really know what Oklahoma is. So the jury's still out. We're basically running in place until a couple of weeks down the line, once conference play starts and we kind of get a better idea of what we think everything is. But if it's not open season in the offensive line room right now, I don't know if it ever will be. I mean, it's not bad. I want to reiterate, it's not a horrible offensive line. It's not bad. Can it be better? Yes, absolutely. There are ways to be better.
We're holding them to the expectations, the standard that Sharon Moore himself has set. That's
right. Exactly. It's the same staff that is coaching these guys back then to now. So you should have that standard, like, hey, if these guys can develop 2023's group, why can't they develop this group? I mean, there's nothing to say that they can't. So there's a disconnect there somewhere. And you know what? It probably is Sharon Moore spending less time because he's got to worry about being a head coach. It probably that might very well be the missing link, is having, like pun intended. But
that's funny.
I mean, I am perfectly fine with giving it a couple of weeks once, depending obviously what it looks like against Nebraska. Once Sharon comes back and he continues his increased attention on this group, I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm willing to give it a chance to see what it looks like. If they're still running in place, if they're still running in place and they're winning, well, all right, we'll figure it out. But if they're losing, you gotta do something. You gotta do something.
Well, and I think back to last year, and then again, one of the things I credit Moore with a lot is the willingness to admit you're wrong and fix it right away, right? We saw the Dom Crippen battle going back and forth, and then we saw Link come out, and then Gentry go in, and then he gets hurt, and then Link gets put back. And, there are guys that have left this program, including Dom, Tristan Bounds, Jeff Percy, Andrew Gentry. These guys are all starting at other programs, okay? Mm-hmm. Below Michigan, right? Like Pitt's not Michigan, Arizona, whatever. But these guys are good. They get developed here at Michigan. They're good offensive linemen, right? I have long said, I don't want to see you playing around in the season, like get your offensive line and go. But again, that's if this group is coming together and blah. At this point, you rotate every other position. So what's the difference? Right. And you spent this entire offseason too with guys playing all over the place. Brady Norton played in 5 positions. Garnera played in 2 positions at center and guard. Frazier played at 3 or possibly 4 positions. Right. So like that flexibility exists for me that I just want to see it. Try like show that you're not willing to accept it. Right. I want to move on to defense, but let's get through some of the comments really quick. When you play offensive line, it's all mental once you're playing a game. So when these guys are new starters, it's experiment for a while. Yeah. But if a guy gets hurt, you don't got time to figure it out. Right. Next man up. I think it's just kind of the same thing. But yeah, Dom got SEC player of the week. Week 1. Yeah. Donnie Mutz.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty humorous to me. But Henry, great point. Recruiting matters. Look, we're still talking about this because those 22 and 23 recruiting classes for the offensive line were down. Sprague is in. Frazier's pushing. Guarnera's pushing. Avery Gatch is there. Haywood's gotten out there a little bit. Babalola got hurt. But like that's your offensive line next year, right? The recruiting dividends of 24 and 25 are going to pay off next year. But that's a great point.
Yeah, and also, Michigan has done really well in the portal at offensive line too.
Sure. Yeah, Norton was a good ad. It's just we were told he was a year away, and then he's starting.
Right, exactly. And so that kind of skews it a little bit when you went from Oluwatimi to I forget his name. That guy, the center after Oluwatimi, the dude from Colorado,
from Stanford.
From Stanford, yeah. What is it? I can't remember his last name.
Nugent.
Yeah, Nugent. Yeah. So I think there's also a little bit of, and obviously two Joe Moore Award winners too. I think expectations are skewed a little bit, but why can't they be? I mean, Michigan has done this 2 years in a row. I mean, you could make the argument that they could have won back to back as a group, but can expectations be skewed and realistic at the same time? Maybe, there might be some middle ground to be found there, but I mean, at some point, the tape you put on film, That's way to go, Josh. Good one. That made a lot of sense. The tape you put the stuff you put out there on tape speaks volumes as to what,
because there's no tape or no film anymore. It's all digital.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So there were times on Saturday where I'm like, oh yeah, that's like classic Michigan where they're just chunk playing you to death. And I do think the offensive line beat down Central Michigan. And at one point towards the very end of the game they quit. The defensive line quit. And that's good because that's classic Michigan football is where they were just gouging you for 6 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards, just consistently going down the field. They're chunk playing you to death. And they did have that at moments last week. So I do think it's like the blueprint and the framework is there. It's just the innards need to be filled in. And I don't know whether that's new faces shuffling around. I don't know what that is to get the guts of this filled in, but it's just, it's there. It's there. It just needs to be built out.
Let's see, John, according to Ballasmore, no, we talked about that earlier. That wasn't any intel or anything. Biff Poggi literally said it in the press conference that Moore spent time with the offensive line. Yeah, after last week, I feel like Michigan has a self-scouting problem. I mean, right now it's fair to push back on some of the O-line decisions, but that's also too, like, you don't necessarily know what a guy is going to do on the field or how a guard and a tackle are going to play next to each other until it gets out there. But that's why, again, to Oklahoma's credit, they saw something and they were willing to completely shuff around, and it paid off. So last one I want to touch on, Henry. What's the point of bringing in Castillo if they have Newsome? That's just taking advantage of new rules. Analysts can coach during practice now. You'd be dumb
why not
to fill your analysts without experienced coaches. And we've seen that at every position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Soup Campbell's come back and he's helping with wide receivers. Fred Jackson's obviously been around and helping with running backs. On the defensive side, both Lou Esposito and Lamar Morgan have hired their right-hand guys from previous stops to come in and coach. I feel bad now. I can't think of his. Is it David Denham?
Yep.
On the defensive line, and you already have,
we had Pernell McPhee too.
Yeah, you got Fee coaching the edges there as well. And then safety, it's Lionel Stokes is helping out Lamar Morgan. So you've just got more coaches there available to help in practice. And from what anyway, the way it's working in practice is they're doing the drills, and Newsome, Bellamy, whichever position coach can essentially move on to the next drill, coach whatever, and Castillo can grab one guy and pull aside one guy and talk or coach up one dude, and the practice continues, right? Yeah. They're just literally getting in more coaching, more reps by bringing in those folks. So, it's all, David says it's all good as long as you don't have too many folks in the kitchen. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be organized, but I don't see any negative to bringing in a very long time NFL coach who's been at Michigan before, etc. But we'll see. I'll be interested to see. Obviously, we've got health with El Hadi and Norton. That's going to play into it. But we had a lot of guys play in this game as well. On offense, it was how many? And I know, this is a little bit different than the week one because there was some significant garbage time. But 44 dudes get on the field in this one. And again, this is a little different. There's a big chunk of these guys that only played 3, 4, 5, 6 snaps, whatever. But I'll be interested to see with Nebraska if there's any changes coming out. Wide receiver, I'm actually really, really happy. Again, I'm going to move to defense. I just want to touch on this real quick. I'm actually really happy that they're not over-rotating there. That was like my biggest concern. They've really given Donovan and Goodwin clear wide receiver 1 and 2 roles. Obviously, Samaj in his role, he's getting a lot of reps. Marsh's role continues to grow. We saw his potential, but he still is a freshman doing freshman things, but you can tell he's going to be a player for sure.
Yep.
So excited there. All right, defense. I'm kind of in a similar vein here in terms of what the young guns have been doing. I will get to that in a moment. I want to start with, because I love patting myself on the back. Here we go. No TJ Guy in this one. Sounds like it was just a precautionary holdout. He was dressed. These injury reports, like Josh, you and I were texting earlier, I don't know how seriously these are being taken because guys are being listed on the report that aren't hurt, and they go out there, they're fine. And then some guys aren't listed and then they get held out. It's weird. But anyway, TJ Guy's held out precautionary. So we get to see Jayshawn Barham play the edge full time. He took every snap at edge, and oh my God, that's where he belongs, man. Like I've been saying since October of last year, like that's his future in the NFL. Again, pat myself on the back. Jim Nagy, former Reese's Senior Bowl director, now the general manager at Oklahoma, replied. He goes, "Yep, that's where he's going to go to the edge." There was talk this offseason that was maybe going to happen. Obviously, Derek Moore and TJ Guy coming back, and you're excited about Cam Brandt, Dom Nichols. You're like, well, maybe we don't need to move him over there. Maybe he wanted to be more of a Micah Parsons playing linebacker edge. But man, I'm looking at this, and Houseman and Rolder and Sullivan and Troy Bowles, that linebacker room's looking really, really good. And Barham is he's a monster on the edge. I hope whatever they do moving forward, these coaches aren't dumb. They saw that. We're going to see more of Jayshawn Barham on the edge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they need to just commit. Michigan and Barham are like two friends that love each other, but they've consistently friend zone each other, but they know they're going to be good for each other. Just commit. Do it. Commit. And Barham was told before the year that he is his NFL potential is at edge. So I understand last year the hesitancy of moving him from linebacker to edge because you don't have the depth.
100%.
But now, you've got Jimmy Rolder who's firing on all cylinders because he's healthy. Cole Sullivan is a freaking stud. And then Troy
He's
Bowles,
one of the top 3 defensive players right now.
Yeah. Troy Bowles, all he does is make plays when he's out there. I think you've got the depth now where you can not necessarily move him full time, but put him in there and rotate him in there, and then you can get creative with your linebackers, because I'm all for the more you can give Sullivan, the more you can give Rolder and Bowles and even Chase Taylor more snaps out there. They're your future. The more they're going to get this year in a pretty top heavy room in terms of experience, I think that's going to be great for them. I think Sullivan has got star potential written all over him. And the more you can get him out there, I said during the year, I think Sullivan is going to start stealing snaps from experienced guys. And that's not to say he's going to steal jobs, but he's going to steal snaps. And I think you're already starting to see this, because you've got now, Barham was kind of an edge move out of a little bit of a necessity on Saturday, but it's clear that's where he excels. It's clear. So I don't know how, as the staff looking at the tape and being like, man, he was like the best defensive lineman on the, out of the group. I don't know how you go back. I don't know how there's any moving back. You can absolutely still work in TJ Guy, and you can work in all those other guys, and still have Barham play that specific role. I think there's absolutely an avenue to do it. Yeah, I just don't know how you go back. It's the same argument with Underwood too. You can't go back from this when showing what you did on Saturday. There's no coming back from that. Like you got to continue this path now. So, and I feel the same way about Barham at edge. I think you got to at least explore it, next week and keep on with it. And if it doesn't work, okay, revert back to where you were. But I just think, Barham can be an NFL edge, and a lot of scouts believe he can be. I just don't see why you don't. I don't see why it took this long in order to start seeing that. It took a couple of guys sitting out for precautionary reasons for him to get the edge snaps that everyone has been clamoring for and saying, like, this dude is an edge, like, play him that way. And I don't think you'll see a massive drop-off moving him there and putting a guy like Sullivan in his place. I don't think the drop-off would be that big.
I'm going to push back, and maybe this is a hot take. Not only do I not think it would be a drop-off, I think it would be an improvement.
Yeah.
Like, I think Sullivan is a better space linebacker right now, right? Barham is an absolute missile when he's sent in one direction into the backfield. That's what he's great at. And you know what? Sullivan's a really good pass rusher too. I think he's actually, because he's got 2 pressures this season. Well, yeah, the top 2 graded pass rushers right now, Troy Bowles, Cole Sullivan.
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see it either, but just the way that they've played these last couple of weeks.
So it's like, you're also talking about a defense that last week, everybody started freaking out because I wish I remembered who it was to give him credit, but somebody put out a tweet that said Michigan created 100% pressure on all of their non-blitz snaps last week. And everybody's like, whoa, that's incredible. We're creating all this pressure, right? Here's the thing. They didn't blitz twice. 16 dropbacks. Michigan blitzed on 14 of them. Okay. Wink's sending dudes.
Special.
Right. So you can have basically a 4-3 defensive front, whatever combination of front 4, and your linebackers, whatever combination of Houseman, Barham, Sullivan, and Bowles. And guess what? Any one of those 4 linebackers, because you know who your number 4 graded pass rusher is? Ernest Houseman. You know who number 5 is? Jayshon Barham. They're all your best pass rushers. So you can send any of them, right? And then still have your defensive front that you're rotating with Moore and Brandt and Nichols and Guy and Benny and Pierce and Etta and Trey Williams and Payne. And now this defensive front's a monster, right?
And you can shuffle those guys around too. It's not like those guys are like edge specific only. Like they can shuffle around. It's like the offensive line too. Those guys can play multiple spots. So you can find a role for all of those guys.
Not only can they have already. Sullivan.
Right.
Sullivan's taken 10 snaps at the edge, 10 lining up like a nickel, 43 have been in the box as a linebacker. I mean, Barham's stats are now skewed because of this game, because he played exclusively on the outside, but he's 33 outside, 39 box, 10 nickel. Dom Nichols has played edge, interior, over the nose. I mean, these guys all play multiple shades across the front, and that's what makes Wink's defense so good. I guess I'm arguing keep doing it. I'm not correcting anything. I just like you're doing it. Like keep going, Wink. Like this is
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. And continue to lean into the guys that are balling for you, right? So that's some of these young guys, and we've seen it. It's a similar situation at safety. Jaden Mangum getting some reps, looking pretty good. Well, I don't know if Rod Moore is ever going to play at this point. I don't. If he does, I'll be so happy. But the dude's getting dressed. He's going through all the drills, and he doesn't come on the field.
I just don't know how he would fit in right now. That's my only thing. Like, how does he fit into the safety rotation? Because
I'd play him in corner at this point.
Well, yeah. And then at what point do you think, like, if you play him out there, is he going to be a liability? Because, does he move the same as he did? I don't think he does after 2 knee procedures in short order. I don't know if he's the same.
He's not going to know until he plays. So you're just
again, if Rod never plays a single snap again, he has done above and beyond the call of duty for a Michigan safety in terms of what he's meant to this program. This isn't like he's done everything he can. I mean, this is just the last year of coming back from an injury is, the cherry on top. But, the more depth is better. I just don't know how, I do
think he's going to play, by the way. I'm just kind of making a smart ass comment about it, but
I was from at the beginning of the year, I was told that the October was probably going to
I figured they'd get to the bye week.
Yeah. And to see all this stuff, even if you took what Sharon said last week at face value, you're like, man, I mean, I think he's going to play this week, but maybe he plays next week. I don't know. I think this is just going to be a weekly thing until he sees the field. And I don't know if he's at the point where you can just put him in snap 1 and have him play 30 snaps again. I don't know. We'll have to see.
And it might not even have to be 30. It might be 20, but like as far as where he fits, 5 guys have played over 100 snaps on this team through 3 games. Jimmy Rolder's 5th. That is surprising. Jimmy Rolder's 5th with 117. This is where, you're saying, where does Rod Moore fit? Brandon Hillman, 4th, 131. Hausman, 134. He never comes off. 2nd, TJ Metcalf, 153. Jair Hill, 161. Right? So only 5 guys have played more than 100, and Hill, Metcalf, and Hillman are 131, 153, and 161. That's where Rod Moore fits, is just getting those guys off the field a little bit. They're playing too many snaps.
Right.
Rod Moore can play nickel and Metcalf's spot. Honestly, again, depending on where he's at, he'd have to play some football to see his comfort level. He might be one of the best cover guys on the team right now, right? Yeah. We've seen Jair Hill, who's doing a really, really good job, still getting beat on some double moves and some different things where he's going to continue to get better. But if Hill, Metcalf, and Hillman play 5 to 10 snaps less per game, and Rod Moore's leadership is on the field,
it adds up.
Boom.
No, Michigan is a better team with Rod Moore than without.
Right.
In any capacity. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying like he's going to come back and totally suck. My concern is Rod close to the same Rod as he was before injury?
That's a fair point.
Guys,
Corum wasn't the same guy. We're watching Hutchinson with the Lions right now, trying to get back. It's just,
it'll take.
It's just part of recovery.
It takes time, and unfortunately, he doesn't have that much time left in his Michigan career. But that's kind of my main thing. It's like, is he going to be a liability if he plays out there? I don't, and I can't answer that. I don't think he will, but that's. I don't have the answer to that, because it's a mental thing too, coming back from injury and Good 2 point. Procedures, one right after the other. I mean, that's tough, because if he didn't have that second procedure, we'd be talking about him playing now. So yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, the smarts are there. The knowledge of the defense is there. That's not a concern. Like, knowing the scheme and all that stuff, that's not a concern. I just don't know if what his workload would look like and how that factors into the rotation at safety or I'll just say defensive back because he can play multiple spots. So, I don't know what he's going to look like. And the coaches obviously aren't going to play him if they don't think he can contribute. So,
it's just a timing thing at this point. So.
Yeah.
I'm more making a joke of the matter, not necessarily more, but it just kind of reminds me of the Will Johnson situation last year where it was like, we knew he wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
Like, stop saying this is week to week and we'll see how it goes. Like, everyone knew he wasn't coming back that week, and I think the way they handled that is what played into all these rumors that he was basically sitting out on purpose and blah, 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 which he literally could have just done that and announced that. There was no reason to play some kind of weird game. And I just thought, whatever. So with this week to week thing and him getting dressed and running out and like, oh, we think, he's questionable. He's probably going to play but we asked the question, you're answering the question, coach. I can't be mad at you for answering what we ask every week. Right. So, but yeah, I'm really, I knew this group was going to be strong defensively because of depth, but I'm just so intrigued, not only for this year, but the future, because again, when I'm looking at in terms of like pressure numbers and low missed tackle rates and, PFF grades that are a piece of information. They're not the end all be all, obviously, but like the names I'm seeing, again, Cole Sullivan is arguably a top 3 defender already on this team. He has sacks and interception, pass breakups. Like 6 of his tackles are defensive stops. They're offensive failures. Elijah Dotson got out there and got some reps, had a really, really good interception.
Oh, I love seeing that.
Well, I'm so happy for him because he got the treatment as like, oh, it's just Bryce's buddy. That was the only reason.
Yeah, he's the Bryce,
the sweetener in the pot or whatever, and he's gonna be a player here for sure, right? Jair Hill, Barham, we already mentioned. Dom Nichols, a guy coming up grading well. They don't make a ton of noise, but right now, 2 guys in your top 10 of defensive grades, Damon Payne and Trey Williams, the transfers that everybody was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Well, there you go. They're doing their job. They're playing the same role they've played previously. They're in the rotation. They're doing their limited snaps, and they're doing their job when they're out there. Shamari Earls finally got on the field after his whatever we want to call it.
No, they said it on the broadcast. You can say it now.
Oh, they did say it on TV. Yeah.
Jake Butt.
How do you get hurt doing backflips, dude?
Landing on his face, doing a flip pregame. Oh, man.
And I only know this because Patrick was there taking pictures. Yeah. After the one where he fell on his face, he did another one because he wanted to land it.
How hard did he hit his face in order to sit out 2 weeks?
I don't know. There might be a doghouse element to that.
Yeah, true. That's very true. That's very true.
Man, these names again: Nate Marshall, Hillman, right? Jaden Sanders has been getting out there. So I will probably button up pretty soon because I know everybody's getting ready to go watch JJ take on Michael Penix and hopefully duplicate the national championship. But hey, I was kind of this harsh on the offensive line, and I'm going to say the same thing here with the defensive line. Like Derek Moore, Rayshon Benny, TJ Guy, like these guys that we spent this whole offseason, will they, won't they? Coming back, Benny was like at one point almost offended that he was being asked whether he was coming back, and he's like, "What are you talking about? I'm a senior." Like he was like, "I'm going pro. Like, why would I come back?" Blah blah blah. Benny looked really good against Central. I've picked on him a little bit early. He looked really good against Central. And I don't know, did you notice on that first series they were lining him up like 2 or 3 yards off the line, like sending him like a middle linebacker?
Yeah,
I love Wake. He's an absolute maniac, dude. An absolute maniac. But yeah, I'm in the same spot. I know people are worried about the defense. I think it'll keep getting better. I don't think there's a Mason Graham on this team. But I think they have more depth. It's just very 2022 vibes to me. And
I don't think they need a Mason Graham. I mean, if they can get
who doesn't need a Mason Graham?
Well, true. Obviously.
I know what you mean. They can be successful without it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I would take a Mason Graham.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I think, if they can have a guy guys that can come in and create pressure I think they'll be okay. They don't have to have one guy or, a duo of guys like Graham and Grant. I think they'll be okay. But yeah, obviously, everyone needs a Mason Graham on their defensive line. But like,
stop just giving you shit.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just
right.
yeah. I mean, it can be a group effort to have a similar impact. And honestly, I think they might be better off that way if they can have a group effort, have a similar impact to one guy. Takes less tread off that one guy's tires. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, yeah. I mean, my needle moved kind of a little bit after Saturday. I mean, I didn't expect them to score 63 points. That's encouraging. 8 touchdowns by 6 different guys. That's encouraging. But yeah, if they need to, obviously you can't replicate it week to week, but if you can have that trajectory continue from week to week, then yeah, I think they're in a good spot.
So we'll finish on just a little Nebraska talk. I'll admit I haven't even really gotten into my previews yet. I don't know how much I'm supposed to take away from. I don't even know who this first opponent is. HCU? Is that Houston Christian?
Yeah, Houston Christian, yeah.
Okay. And then 68-0 over Akron, and then obviously they win a close one over Cincinnati earlier as well to start the year. The numbers look good. Dylan Raiola's stats look good. Some wide receivers look good.
I have thoughts.
I have thoughts. I know you do. I'm excited. At the beginning of the year, I mean, I don't like conference road games, period. So I'm like, okay, I don't love going to Nebraska. And I do think Matt Rule can be a good coach because of what he's done in previous spots or whatever. But I don't know, maybe this will come back and bite me in the face if they lose this game, obviously, but I've just struggled to be scared of Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere is tough. Yes. I think Michigan is the more talented team.
Best fans, though, by the way. Best.
Oh, yeah, great fan base. Awesome fan base. Yeah, them in Oklahoma are right at the top as like the nicest.
Yeah, a lot of people said good things about Oklahoma.
Yeah. I'm going to say something about Dylan Raiola.
Let's do it.
I think his cosplay of Patrick Mahomes
creepy.
Is so damn cringe. Why hasn't anyone pulled him aside and say, you're like 17, 18 years old. Act like it. Stop wearing your little Halloween costume and pretending that you're a quarterback. It's weird. And people are openly mocking you now. It's so cringe. Oh my God. Like, I wish someone would pull him aside and like, tell him, stop doing this. Like, yeah, like the finger thing, like the knee, the jumping knee thing he does pregame. It's weird. I'm sure he has like a little doll at home that he pets too. He's
been pressed on it. He's been pressed on it before. I've seen it. And he's like, yeah, I don't really understand it, man. I can't help the way I look. I'm like, bro.
Oh crap.
Bro.
It's not looking.
You wear his number, you cut your hair and facial hair the exact same way. You wear the same shades. Weird. The girl that you've been seen with looks a lot like right. The entire pregame routine. Like,
oh, it's so weird.
Right.
So cringe.
Just don't pretend you're not. This is the thing that always kills me. I don't really even care that you're doing it. I care that you're acting like I'm stupid.
I care.
I know, but I'm not stupid. Don't tell me I don't see what I see.
Life.
Right?
My life.
LeBron and Bronny, that entire thing, right? Yeah. I don't give a shit. Nepotism exists throughout sports. Owners of franchises are nothing but nepotism.
LeBron, he should start acting like his dad, just letting rushers go by and sacking the quarterback like he did with the Lions for 15 years or however long.
No, like
the Lions.
They're trying to pretend. No, we thought it'd be a good value for a second-round pick. No, the greatest player of this era wanted to play with his son, so you drafted him. It's fine. Don't lie to me.
He wants the
You love Patrick Mahomes, and you want to emulate him in every way possible.
Yeah, just admit it.
Just admit it. Yeah.
Admit you're awkward and weird and cringe as hell, and you want to just have a Halloween costume every day.
We're getting to the point where we're picking on a child,
and that you have a little shrine to Patrick Mahomes you go to every day and sit in front of. Patty, you would have been so proud of me today. I did leg up super high; they almost touched my chin.
It is so weird.
Oh God, it's so weird. Like if Bryce was doing that, like if Bryce was imitating Patrick Mahomes pregame, I would be like, you're a weirdo. Stop. Don't do that.
Who's the Nebraska tight end in it? And are they dating a pop star?
Oh man, it's just so weird. Oh, like nothing against like he's fine as a person, whatever. He's just
I don't know anything about
weird, obsessive, cringy thing he does with football, and it's just weird. And it's not equivalent. You're not Patrick Mahomes. Sorry, you're not. You're never going to be Patrick Mahomes.
Well, and it's one thing to wear the number. I mean, every single person in this chat, if they played T-ball, wore a number because of somebody they liked.
Just admit,
that's fine, bro.
I'm a little bit of a weirdo. I can't help it. It's weird.
It's not even like Mahomes is a cool person. He's
right. Next thing you know, he's gonna sit there and start talking like Kermit. He's like,
I was just gonna say, did you see when Kelsey did that in Brazil? When he answered the question, he goes, "Yeah, man, it was so cool." And Mahomes is like, "Okay, stop." Like, no, bro.
He's gonna start posting, go big red, Husker Nation.
So I'm gonna try and recalibrate. We'll see if this works. I do like their receiving core, including a guy I really, really wanted Michigan to get, which was Dane Key.
Oh yeah, like him a lot.
Yeah, so they've got 3 receivers already with double-digit receptions, with more than 160 yards, with touchdowns. But again, I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch the Cincinnati game because as much as, I mean, there's going to be Nebraska podcasts that are saying, like, do I give a crap what Michigan did to Central Michigan? And that's probably a fair thing to say, right? So, but yeah, and Matt Rule or not, Nebraska, and this could be the game, and that could be what Matt Rule is telling them, right? Like, it is so hard once a narrative is set in where you're not winning these football games for like, I mean, we're going on a decade at this point. I saw it earlier, like their streak against ranked teams is crazy. I think it's just, you get yourself amped up, whatever. And if Michigan comes in and just plays Michigan football and they win, it's just so hard. We saw it with Michigan for years, even during the Jim Harbaugh era. He was not winning games as an underdog, not winning the big ones on the road. And you just have to finally do it. Clemson, for the longest time, although they're starting to do it again, Clemsoning is coming back.
Yep.
Right. Clemsoning was a verb for choking. Right? Like, sometimes you just got to finally break through. And I hope that breakthrough is not against Michigan, right? For Michigan.
Well, they almost beat Ohio State last year until they wet their pants, like every other team does when they have Ohio State on the brink, other than Michigan. They wet themselves and just totally lose their minds. So yeah, I mean, and Rule wants this game so bad because he was complaining so much about those signs and stuff. Oh man, he wants this so bad. He's gonna cry like Bielema did after the game. You know, he's just because he wants it so badly if they win. Oh man, he was like one of the biggest whiners about the sign stealing stuff. It's like, dude, just pay attention to your own program. Like relax. Like win a game. Like win a big game.
I just found it. How many games? And if you guys know the answer, please don't put it in the comments. How many games in a row do you think Nebraska has lost to an AP ranked team? As in they were ranked at the time they played.
18. That's my guess.
That's your guess? I'm not seeing anybody comment, so I'm not going to sit here and wait. 27.
Oh, that's horrible.
27. Your average fan got it right out of the dose.
Yeah, that's so bad.
3,248 days.
Jeez.
And they are currently going back to last year on a 4-game win streak for the first time since 2016. That's it. And I'm old enough to have grown up with like Nebraska being a blue blood.
Yeah.
Right. And like they felt like a sleeping giant forever. And Bo Pelini just couldn't get him over the hump. And it was like, man, imagine going back to the Bo Pelini days. He was doing great.
Well, the move to the Big Ten was the death knell of Nebraska. I mean, that's like that was the dumbest decision that they could.
It really was.
I mean, they needed to stay in the Big 12.
Because, in the Big 12, you can still recruit kids out of Texas.
Right.
I mean, the whole conference alignment is really, we're seeing parity come back in a lot of good ways. But I thought about Virginia Tech today with firing Brent Key, and I'm like, man,
mess. They're so bad.
But
man,
dude, Shamari Earls, Savion Hyder, right? Blake Corum. I know he played Maryland, whatever, but like, there's a lot of good players in Virginia. Penn State gets them. Michigan gets them. Clemson, Georgia, and then you get into like even the second tier of guys are going to Pitt and Penn State and Rutgers. Like the right coach, there's tons of talent in that area, right? And they haven't.
The same for Virginia too. I mean, both Virginia schools. They need
things have tailed off. I mean, they were already tailing off for Beamer before the end there, but it's like the right coach and money, right? We've seen it like at a Texas Tech even. But
well, it happened with Michigan with Brady Hoke too. I mean, you had Michigan State coming in and taking guys that Michigan would just get by snapping their fingers, and then Ohio State started to bleed into the state a little bit and taking some of the top guys. Granted, they didn't necessarily work out at Ohio State, but I mean, there was a couple, but
but those brands can go national. Michigan. Right. We're looking at Michigan might not take a single. They're probably not going to take a single player from Michigan in this class this year.
Right. But I'm just saying, from like being in like a fertile ground, like, you should be able to take care of your own house if you want to.
And there's programs that can be good because of it.
Yeah.
Right. Like the California, like the UCLA is another one where, I mean, we can get into the stadium being an hour away from the campus and that nightmare too.
Oh, they are so bad.
But yeah, the ACC now not being a marquee conference because it's pretty much just the Big Ten and the SEC now, right? That automatically puts a program like Va-Tech behind. And then in the UCLA case, you're recruiting kids, but like their parents would have to travel to Michigan and Iowa and Nebraska to see your kid play. And back to the original point, which was Nebraska staying in the Big 12 and going to the Big 10. I mean, on paper, it made so much sense, right, in terms of the fit in the conference, and it just hasn't worked. And it's a bummer because they're a school I don't hate. I wouldn't mind them being, despite the 97 dialogue and all the BS that surrounds that. I like going to Lincoln. I like that fan base. I like the tradition around the program. As much as Matt Rule's complaining was annoying last year, can I say props for at least putting your name to it?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
At least standing in a podium and saying it where it was you instead of these anonymous quotes in the paper that were outlandish and BS and you were just trying to win recruiting battles. James Franklin. At least Matt Rule put his name to it.
Ryan Walters.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
The list goes on. I mean, Ryan Walters.
You were literally sharing signs with Ohio State that were, but anyway. Yeah, Ryan Walters.
Ryan Walters and Rule were the worst. Just Rule had enough balls to put his face.
Well, and it was funny because before the game he wasn't. Before the game he was kind of downplaying it. Michigan stomps them, and then now all of a sudden it's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Michigan's favored by what, 3 something? I think.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
I thought it would be closer to a pick'em just because of everything.
Well, and I mean, with the home field factor, let me not lie. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I thought it was like 3.5.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska was
2.5,
just because they're the home team. I mean, I don't think it matters, but yeah.
Oh man, you're bringing me back. Tyrod Taylor was there. That's right. Was Cam Chancellor at Va-Tech?
Damn.
Which did you know they get offended if you say Va-Tech, by the way?
Really?
I thought that was like a thing. Va-Tech. Wasn't that a thing?
I thought that was their thing. Yeah, I guess not. I don't know.
No, I said something about Va-Tech on Twitter the other day, and a guy came at me. He's like, it's not Va-Tech. I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to prove him wrong and find a shirt that says Va-Tech on it real quick. And I couldn't find one, so I was actually kind of surprised.
Huh.
It's like Michigan State fans get pissed if I call them just State. I'm like, bro, you call yourselves just State. What are you talking about?
Well, Michigan State fans get pissed off about a lot of things.
I'm like, your jersey, you literally just, it says State on your jerseys. You're State.
They get worked up about a lot of things.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll obviously put our predictions out and full in-depth breakdowns and everything when the Friday forecast comes out. So I'm not in a position to put a score on this right now, but I expect Michigan to win this game.
35-17 Michigan.
There we go. You got to make up for that double digit. Bring it back.
Somehow. It's going to happen somehow. Somehow, somebody's going to happen.
This is a good point. Somebody else I brought up about Vatek in the middle of nowhere. If Shane Beamer is the only one that resets that program, in my opinion.
Yeah, but is that?
I saw some of the names. Charlie Huff did well at Marshall, so maybe he can recruit that state if he leaves Southern Miss after a year. But to me, it feels like Shane Beamer or bust. I mean, they can find a young up and coming guy, but to recruit that area, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Beamer and Virginia Tech are like synonymous with one another, but I don't know. It almost feels like it's a lateral move, or almost.
That's a step back for him. I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's a step back. Yeah, I mean, I guess he would really, 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 really want that job, or Virginia Tech just pulls some money together and absolutely just drops an unbelievable bag on him. I just don't know if they have that budget.
I'll tell you what,
Carolina's spending well in NIL, so I just don't know if Virginia Tech's set up to do that.
When Virginia Tech and South Carolina played this year, Frank Beamer was at that game wearing a South Carolina shirt.
Yeah.
So I don't know that the pull's that strong, to be honest with you.
Yeah, true.
So
yeah, I don't know. That would feel like a tough pull, but
yeah.
I mean,
so
you can't predict the emotional heartstrings tugging that happens when it comes to that stuff. So
no, who knows? And maybe there's a higher timing wise that works out very much like a Matt Rule going to Nebraska.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where here's a guy that's built up a program before, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I think it's so interesting. Some of these teams that just could be better, but all right. I'm trying. Sorry. I'm part of what I'm doing right now is trying to distract so I can, there we go. I've been saving this one for a little bit.
Oh yes.
And Derek brought it up the last time that Virginia Tech and Nebraska were relevant. Circuit City was a go-to store, and that's actually not that far off. I think that might be accurate. But it made me realize we need to do our Circuit City football neck of the week.
Yep.
And I was going to hold on to this one for a while, but there's just no point anymore. I think this is the best football neck on the Michigan football team.
That is a strong. I saw that neck in person on.
I was saying, I don't even know if this picture is doing it justice. I'm gonna have to try and find another one. Zach Marshall. You said you saw it in person. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. I saw it on Tuesday. We were talking to him on Tuesday, and that's an impressive football neck.
Let's see, is this one better? We'll try. I know it might have to be a video. I might have to find a video to really pull this off. But this is tiny. I gotta zoom in. What a face! That's the face he's making when somebody.
Yeah, someone
that's
stares
the
at
face
his
somebody makes when I tell him he's the football neck of the week. Brought to you by Circuit City.
Yep. Proud sponsors.
Oh, I need to get did we ever find out if that website's up or not? I can't remember.
Oh, I never looked.
Yeah, I forgot. All right, I'm pretty sure JJ McCarthy's getting on the field, so we're going to start losing people anyway. But viewership strong through the show again. Comments, questions. Appreciate you guys always joining us. Brock was unable to get back on. Obviously, he texted me and was having some difficulty. So bummer. I actually wanted to hear his feedback on some of the stuff that happened in the stadium. But fun fact, on this YouTube channel, there is a Big House recap from Brock and Dennis inside the stadium right after the game. Really cool thing they've started doing after games. If you didn't get a chance to check that out, go take a look. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell so you know when we go live with Hail to the Podcast, with Good Afternoon Michigan, with the Big House recap, any other content we throw up on here. Or, of course, if you're listening back on podcasts, we appreciate you as well. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, like I said, just head over to YouTube. Whoo! And things are going to be busy. On3.com, Maize Blue review. Like I said, we're going to have all of our intel pieces going into the week, and then the Nebraska preview. If you guys haven't seen it, Friday forecast, we drop everything. Go to on Friday when you're sitting at work and watching the clock tick by. Just go to Maize Blue review. We've got all of the content up there for your weekend preview. And then hopefully tomorrow and Tuesday, I'll have my stock report. So we'll have the full breakdown on the Central Michigan game. There's a lot of cool, interesting nuggets we kind of touched on this show, but a lot more stuff to get into. So excited for it. I think that's all of it. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. As always, guys, thank you so much. And we'll see you next week, hopefully talking about another Michigan victory, a 3-1 Michigan team going into the bye, Sharon Moore returning, and then obviously resetting expectations for what will become the thick of the Big Ten schedule. And then all eyes on Columbus at the end of the year as well. Oh, we didn't get a chance. I had so many thoughts on Ohio State. We'll save that for the bye week. But all right, guys, that's it. Thank you. Hail to the podcast.